except for public highway purposes, certain roads and related improvements located in Phase 3 of the Orchard subdivision, known as Peach Lane, and portions of Arbor Crossing, and more particularly described in deeds pertaining to said roads. And whereas the town engineer and director of planning have determined that said roads and related improvements have been constructed and installed in accordance with the town's highway standards and the approved subdivision plan, and whereas the town municipal utility engineer has determined that the water and sewer lines located in said roads have been constructed and installed in accordance with the town's standard and as-built plans, it is resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby accepts as public highways said roads and related improvements, subject to the developer's execution and delivery of deeds and related documents as approved by the town attorney.
Second.
It's been seconded. Comment? Questions?
Is there a bond placed on these roads?
Mr. Gaishel will go on record on this one.
Good evening. To answer your question, yes, the developer has posted approximately a $1.2 million bond with the town for all the remaining improvements in the subdivision, which did include Peach Lane. As they progress, they have no intentions of requesting any portion of the bond back, although they may, under the current state statutes, it's their right to request a portion that would cover Peach Lane. Although to assure that they are working in good faith, they've indicated to us that they would not do so.
So they have remaining roads to complete?
Yes, they have a larger portion of Arbor Crossing. They have another road called Pumpkin Grove and Partridge Lane, or Partridge Court. There's also portions of Holly Lane and other portions of Arbor Crossing that they have not yet looked to have the road accept, as they're still doing remediation work on some of the lots.
So the total bond package for that development will remain in place
That's
for the
correct.
roads? Okay, thank you.
Good questions. Anything else? I'll call the motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Unanimous, we'll move on. There's various board appointments that we're trying to clean up since the beginning of the year. We have 5 or 6 commissions still with some openings that we'd like to fill this evening.
Okay, I'll move for water assessment appeals. I'll move to appoint Diane Zakowski of 36 Sunrise Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, and James E. Demig of 26 Pleasant Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as members of the Water Assessment Board of Appeals through January 6th of 2020.
Second?
I get multiple seconds. You take your pick here. Any comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And while we're on
Yes.
some of these as we go along,
Yes, ma'am.
there are still vacancies to be filled on that board.
On that particular board?
Yes.
Water Assessment Appeals?
Yes.
Thank you for letting me know that. Okay.
Make this for the Smith-Harris Commission. Move to appoint Robert Seifel of 5 Strawberry Lane, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve on the Smith-Harris Commission to serve through January 6th of 2020.
Second.
And second comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Next.
For Water and Sewer Commission, move to appoint David Jakes of 1 Red Fox Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve on the Water and Sewer Commission through January 6th of 2020.
Second?
And seconded. Any comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Great.
Moving on to Board of Assessment Appeals, move to appoint Ann Thurlow of 80 Smith Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve on the Board of Assessment Appeals through December 4th of 2017.
I'll second.
Great. It's been seconded. Any comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it.
For Zoning Board of Appeals, move to appoint Stephen Carpenteri of 25 Harvest Glen, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals through January 6th of 2020.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Great. I thank all those ladies and gentlemen who we've appointed tonight for their service to the town. And, we do it all together, and every bit helps. Moving on our agenda this evening, is the ratification of the commercial fishing leases of Cheney Park. Did you all get the leases in your packets?
We did not.
No.
Okay. You had them last time, right?
We had the new proposed maps
Yeah.
with the
Right.
lessees, I guess, on them,
Okay.
with the delinquent person removed.
Right, down to 4 leases. What we, with your feedback and comment last time, the only things we've changed from 3 year, maybe not even changed, but highlighted, was that the leasee, no one shall sleep overnight on the premises or allow others to do so on these boats. We also worded carefully the parking situation, because we certainly don't want customers or even owners or crew of these boats to have to pay $30 for space. So the leasee should be entitled to park 1 or 2 vehicles, depending on the lease, in the overflow parking area, which was carefully documented tonight by a large photo, that some of those lobster pots would be removed. There'll be plenty of parking underneath the bridge in that triangular spot, if you remember, toward the north side. Other vehicles and spaces available in the Cheney Park parking lot will be at the discretion of the East Line Parks and Rec Department based on availability. And in discussions with Mr. Putnam, there has been no problems. I do anticipate there being more and more of a crunch down there with the boardwalk being fully open for the first time in 4 years, with Cheney, with the boardwalk beach being discovered by more and more people. But most of our fleet, the accepting public, typically goes out early. They're bringing 3 or 4 people for a car, per car. So I don't see that becoming an issue. And I think we're all in agreement there. Incidentally, the Black Hawk, also within their lease, has the 5 spaces in front of their dock reserved for their staff. And we've continued that and built it into the lease that was not there before. The rents all went up equally, proportionally, 5% from where they were, and will go up 5% per year. This is a 3-year lease. We did add in that if a leasee fails to make any payment of rent due pursuant to his lease within 10 days after the date the payment is due, that the leasee shall pay the lessor, that be the town, a late charge of 1% of such overdue amount. And that's 1% per month that it's overdue. All else remains the same. We value our fishing fleet. There is, I talked about the qualifications. We had discussions about how we're charging. Do we charge for the dock? Do we charge for the foot? We happen to be charging for the value of the dock. That's how this was set up. That might go into a change, I would think, in the next round of lease negotiations 3 years from now. But right now, we're at that place. The lessees are responsible for the maintenance of these spots. I am going to ask those that are storing large amounts of equipment, such as the lobster pots and other things, to remove them, that they're only entitled to a proportionate share of the space down there, and we should not be covering up our parking lots, our overflow parking, with lobster pots that aren't being used. And I'll work with that. That's the job. Questions?
When we just talked last time, there was one of the docks we were going to get rid of, or we were going to make.
We did. We
There
went
was
down to
two
4 leases because really there's only 4 docks down there, and there were a couple of guys sharing, and they were kind of tying together and using one side and another side. It's designed for 4 boats down there, and that was the original intention. There is space without a dock right now that was always listed, but we never leased it. So this is where we're at.
Are we approving just the language release, or are we approving the tenants too tonight?
I
Is it-
don't know what the motion says. It really kind of just,
It
this
just,
has been brought
motion
to
is
you
to
to
ratify the leases.
ratify the leases or authorize the first selectman to enter into lease agreements would be appropriate as well. It's just a function of the job, frankly. But what is your pleasure?
Well, first of all, the individual who's in default and 3 years behind,
Not 3 years. It was 1 year behind, and that person has fully paid up.
thank you.
And thank you for bringing that up, because that was a point of conversation last time. He is paid up in the arrears and is actually the first to pay this year.
I'd like to discuss the parking situation. Anyone who enters the park before 8 o'clock will not pay. Is that correct?
That's how it's structured currently by the Parks and Rec Commission.
Okay. And so we have at least one of the fishing vessels that takes more than one trip a day. I believe that one of the vendors oftentimes has a morning, an afternoon, and an
Sometimes
evening.
Right.
So, as we realize that this is going to become a more popular venue, I don't think it's going to take very long for people to realize that if they get there at 10 minutes of 8, they're not going to have to pay. So, I think that there are some things that still need to be considered. And I think one of those is parking and the possibility of having some of the spaces reserved. This was not in our packets. I realize you gave us a bit of an executive summary, but I like to read things for myself.
Mhm.
I would like to have this delayed until the following meeting.
Okay. Would you like a copy of all 4 leases? They vary.
Yes,
Okay.
I think the board should have those to review.
Okay.
If other people are comfortable voting on it, then
Would
that's up
delaying
to
this
them.
have any adverse impact on the
We're continuing right now. We haven't evicted, and frankly, we're just at a point now where we're just trying to get the language correct. Each lease brings us a bit of a twist and a specialty, and that's fine. I don't mind delaying it because we'll be able to address the equipment storage in the underneath the bridge that
And we
has
did
been identified.
We did previously have discussion regarding that. And at one point, he was asked, or the owner was asked to remove some of them.
Right.
But the idea was, yes, for some ambiance there, and to have some available, but to set the scene. But I think it's gotten out of control.
Yeah, that's not setting the scene.
Yeah.
We have plenty of ambiance in town.
Is there anything in the leases that talk about how much area they can, or how much gear they can have in the dock area? I mean, I understand a little, or some is necessary.
Yeah, there isn't any language. I think it would be more like a common courtesy, and we can just address it and fix
Okay.
it just by identifying the problem. If I think that there's going to be a problem, then we'll insert language into the lease, but I don't think there would be.
Well, we had previous discussion about that also, in that they were allowed to have a storage building, that everything shouldn't be out and visible.
I don't have that in the lease.
So it
in the
must have
history.
been, by agreement, because I remember discussion about it.
Blackhawk has a shed and storage, and they run their business. They run electricity in there, and run a first-class charter operation. So maybe that was where the discussion went, is their ability to have an office. It's not much of an office, I'll grant you that, but they're proud of it, and they get their work done out of it. So maybe that's where that came from. I'm not. They don't seem to be having a problem with getting cars down there. There will be a July Saturday afternoon where we have a line backed up to 156 and there's no spaces, and we can address that at the time. I'm not sure if we want to hold the spaces 12 months a year, if we want to, I don't know. Don't forget, when the morning crew is coming off the boat, or the morning customers are coming off the boat, the afternoon customers are arriving. So, there's always that. I don't know.
Mark, are all the leases the same? People that are leasing as before?
The boilerplate is the same.
No, I mean the same people.
Yes.
The same people. And
Yes.
do we have a waiting list? I mean,
Apparently we have one. I didn't know we had a waiting list. I don't know that we have any available spaces right now. Let's put it that way. And everybody has indicated they were willing to stay. So,
I guess the only thing is that we were getting rid of that fifth one. It'd be interesting to know if that would work for somebody that would want that, the way we had it before.
It was
with
too
the fifth.
small.
It was too small, but they had the pylon out there. But
They were saying that there's not really a dock there. They said that's,
what they would load up and then get onto the pylon. But I guess we talked about it last time, but that may work for some people.
yeah, through attrition, we lost one fisherman, and it was the four works. Frankly, the four down there works. We can always add one in after we see the operation this summer. It doesn't mean we have to start it in January. We can go down there and take a look and see if there's space, and see if there's two tenants who would like to share a space, and it can be done safely and can be done to everyone's satisfaction. Now there's 4 docks and 4 boats. So, pleasure is to get you some language and have more conversation. Okay. So be it. Okay, so we'll have some discussion.
Yeah, as long as
Gentlemen.
this isn't going to adversely affect
yeah, I don't want it to
the
adversely affect
people
anybody.
carrying out their business, then
They're still down there. Seal watch?
Seal watch this Saturday.
Is this the D Strong thing?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
That
You
is
do-
fantastic.
You do a lot of things like that that go under the radar, and I applaud you for it. We'll stay with our agenda, and we'll see.
One for Madeline.
Awesome, no doubt.
Great.
Thanks, and thank you all, and we'll I'll be in touch in the next week, and we'll move forward. Thanks for coming out tonight. Next on our agenda is the transfer of funding required for various budget line items for the non-affiliated employees for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2016. Do you have that as a motion?
Yes. I'll move to approve a transfer in the amount of $65,297 from account 01-01-120-100-500 town payroll pending PR change to various budget line items as itemized on the attached worksheet titled Town of East Lyme Unaffiliated COLA Increases 7/1/15 to 6/30/16. Additional funding required and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Second?
And it's been seconded. Any comments, questions? Mrs. Johnson's here, as you know, and we're negotiating contracts, including with the unaffiliated, non-affiliated employees. We put money into a contingency account and then have to move things over. So here we are.
So, yeah, this is coming out of the payroll contingency balance
Right.
that we set up every year, because we don't know what the time.
okay.
Okay,
Just routine business.
yeah, just,
Yep. Nope. Thanks for that.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it. As you also know, we had a 1-year extension or a 1-year deal for the largest union in town, which used to be AFSCME, and now it's UPSU.
UPSU.
And this next item on your agenda is to cover that relationship and that negotiation.
I'll move the following, to transfer of the transfer of funding required in various budget line items for United Public Service Employees Union, UPSU, for fiscal year ending June 30, 2016. Move to approve a transfer in the amount of $95,572 from account 0101-120-100-500, town payroll pending PR change, to various budget line items as itemized on the attached worksheet titled Town UPSI contract increases 7/1/15 to 6/30/16. Additional funding required and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Second.
I have a motion. It's been seconded.
All in, count. I was just gonna say all those in favor, because you were away from the
Because you're a
microphone.
deputy and I stepped
Yeah.
away from the mic.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any
No,
abstained?
because I couldn't hear you.
Thank
was
you.
what- yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, for covering. The next item we added into our agenda, or onto our agenda, I believe.
Firefighter.
And this is the firefighters. We just negotiated, I believe, a 2-year union contract with them, and we're proud to say that is over, and everyone shook hands. So we have an action item is needed on this item.
I'll move to approve a motion to transfer $13,585 from account 0101-120-100-500, town payroll pending PR change, to the following accounts: $4,742 to account 01-25-217-100-611, salaries, NFD firefighters; $1,258 to account 01-25-217-100-614, NFD overtime; $3,556 to account 01-25-218-100-601, salaries, FFD firefighters; $1,260 to account 01-25-218-100-614, FFD overtime, and $965 to account 01-01-114-100-121, FICA Medicare, to fund the firefighters' contract increases for the 2015-16 fiscal year and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next on our agenda is the authorization for the first selectman to sign the MOU Animal Control Facility Memorandum of Understanding between the towns of Waterford, East Lyme, and Montville. This is not a finished product. This is simply an MOU as a formal agreement for the towns to come together, form a committee, a working committee, with staff representatives from all three communities to present findings, recommendations, and comments to the chief executive for a regional animal shelter. And we're charging this committee to get their work done by September 1st of this year. Our animal control facility currently is in Waterford. It is a regional approach that we take, as you know. It is in dire need of enhancement and to bring it up to the standards that we live by here in 2016. And so that facility is in need of replacement. I'm not saying that this is a done deal in Montville, but we're going to study its possibility in Montville. So do you have a motion prepared for
Yes,
this?
I do. Move the following. Resolved to authorize the first selectman in the name and on behalf of the town of East Lyme to execute and deliver the proposed memorandum of understanding for a regional animal control facility, and to take such action as may be necessary or desirable to implement the terms of the memorandum of understanding.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been seconded. Can we have discussion, or is there discussion?
Well, I have some comments.
Yes.
In reviewing the MOU, it really, there is a paragraph 5 seems to presuppose that they're only going to consider the facility on Route 32 in Montville. And I'm wondering if that paragraph could be changed so that they consider the other alternative of rebuilding the facility that exists in Waterford.
There is no desire for from Waterford, as I understand it, to keep it there, or desire from Montville to be a part of this relationship. Should it stay there? So this is an opportunity for 3 towns to come together and study whether it works in Montville or not. And it might be a not. There's some state land that needs to be purchased by the state. There is zoning issues, etc. So I think we just need to lay down the facts there and make that presentation. We could also have a memorandum of understanding existing at the same time with other organizations, other towns, or just 2 of these 3 towns that says, let's also study another place. But this particular MOU is specifically for this specific location. And it meets with controversy, there's no question. If you read the paper and read the blogs, there is a group that is opposed to this. There's no doubt about that. And that has to be weighed by this committee.
Well, that's my concern. I know there's a number of people that contributed to a fund to improve the facility in Waterford, and from both Waterford and East Lyme, as I understand it. And I don't want to support something that might be an insult to those people that were really very committed and very concerned about the condition of that facility. If there's a possibility to at least consider, get the information about this proposal, but then also consider other alternatives, I think that would be worthwhile.
If we could build a facility with only those donated funds, I'd say we should have those folks come together and decide where they want to build their facility. But it's a dent in the total picture. I don't believe any formal proposal was made that this is the facility you're donating to, or this is, and there's some controversy on that.
Oh,
I'm
I
not going to
understand.
step in the middle of that, Dan, and I know you don't mean to either. There's some controversy whether people knew what they were donating to, or that there were specific commitments to that money on where it was going to be built or rebuilt or moved to. So this memorandum is very specific. We could also enter into an agreement with other towns. Maybe Old Lyme wants to get involved, and we can build one over in Old Lyme or build one here. This is a specific agreement to this particular location.
Thank you.
Other comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay. Any abstain? Okay. Very good. Where are we at?
Fire department study.
Fire department study.
Yes, I have made it a priority in my thoughts, plans, budget, discussions in the community for this community to have a real deep and comprehensive discussion, review the public safety operations in our town. Specifically, our 2 fire departments, our police department, the dispatch center, emergency operations, and the ambulance association. They all combine to offer our citizens top-notch and first-rate services. But going forward, we must ask ourselves and determine if we are properly equipping these groups, properly staffing and managing and organizing them to maximize their effectiveness and efficiencies to the taxpayer. Together, these departments combine for over $4 million, and that figure does not consider the fuel costs, the employee benefits, pension, insurance, and a majority of the capital costs to equip these departments. Including the other associated costs I just listed, would make up about 1/3 of our general government budget annually. Already, the police department is reviewing the costs and benefits of changing to an independent police force. You know this. In the coming weeks, this commission will receive more detailed information that will detail the costs, savings, and police protection improvements that we'll expect if we move away from the resident state trooper system. And tonight, I'm asking for your consideration in a comprehensive, independent study of our fire departments. Their upcoming need for large capital expenditures, which is well documented, the reduction of volunteers over the years, and the relationship with the Ambulance Association all combine to say that it's time for an independent look at our current needs, our current protection levels, and what we should do to be the best prepared going forward. This will be an honest and independent study that we'll be able to refer to in the coming years with respect to capital requests and operational budget increases. Our litigious society and the always expanding mandated requirements of fire protection that we have put that puts great pressure on our two departments and has continued to do so over the years. The fire chiefs are in agreement at this time. They both agree that this is it's an immense job being a fire chief in this world today. Again, certification, training, scheduling of volunteers,
Record retention,
FOI requests, and by the way, and putting out fires. But it's a monster job, and we're asking the fire chiefs, and they've agreed and thought it was a great idea to have a comprehensive 30,000-foot view of where we are now and where we need to be going forward. I think it's brilliant. In sitting in capital improvement plan meetings, capital meetings, they've brought the need for hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the air packs that they carry and wear over the next couple of years, and also 6 new fire trucks in the next 7 years. If we continue the way we've been continuing, they know that's a monster task to try to get through, yet their trucks are coming up on certification issues and time for them to be replaced. So this is, I've searched it out. I contacted CCM. I talked to other towns, and lo and behold, there is an organization, and I believe you got this sent electronically earlier
Yes.
this week, because it was a 35-page report. I'll first, I got to mention for the record right up front.
It's not your cousin?
This fellow is a 35th cousin, twice removed. John Nickerson runs a very well-respected JLN Associates out of Old Lyme. He was an Old Lyme fire chief. He's worked at the Millstone plant. He's worked in industry, and now he goes around the country, in fact, internationally, because he was up in Toronto a couple of weeks ago, I believe, doing exactly this, analyzing and making analysis and reports and inspections for the fire industry. He will remain independent in his view. I don't have an agenda here. I don't have an end game. The fire chiefs don't either. What we need is to have a comprehensive study of where we are and where we need to be, and what equipment will take us there, what personnel will take us there, what is the type of organization we need that will take us there. Frankly, I reached out to CCM. They had a list of fire inspection companies that went back to 2004. They have not updated it. How many years is that? 12 years. 2 of the companies I reached out to were out of business. Several of them were in Kentucky, Tennessee, California, Texas. This guy's in our backyard, knows the guys by name, but is not necessarily, will be on the job here, doing this independently. I frankly thought the cost of the survey was of great value. I thought this would be in the tens and tens and tens of thousands of